Hi, my name is Lela Martin. I am a Family Connections advocate for Kern County, and I'm here to tell you a story about a little girl that we're going to call Annie. Annie was brought into the system when she was 3 or 4 years old for physical and sexual abuse. She was put into the system, basically, some foster care homes. She was acting out in ways that are so numerous that it's hard to mention them all. And as a result of that, she was passed from foster home to group home to group home, and all around, even outside of Kern County. And she lost many social workers over the time that she was in foster system. She had several, and they never said a proper goodbye. So on top of losing her entire family, she had 5 siblings at home at the time. She never saw them again once she was removed, except for once when she lived with, early on she lived with one of her little brothers. And that didn't work out because they were acting out in ways that were inappropriate. So they separated those two, and she hasn't seen her family from the time she was 3 or 4 years old until 2015. And that's the story I'm here to tell you about. Annie was given to the CASA workers in November of 2013. And actually they saved her from becoming a ward of the court because she had acted out enough that the judge was on the verge of doing that. So they managed to save her, and then immediately got me involved as a Family Connections advocate. So when I found out about the stepsister and stepbrother, I asked the aunt if there was a way that she could get them to write a letter to Annie. And she said she wanted to write a letter to Annie as well. So I hung up the phone and I waited patiently, or impatiently as it were. And I let, of course, the traditional CASAs know that this had happened, and everybody was excited. And pretty soon the first letter came. And it was from the aunt, and so we took a copy, put it in her file, and sent it to her in the group home where she was at the time. And she read it, or someone read it to her. I have to add this at this moment, that by this time, Annie is 12 years old, and she reads and writes at the level of probably 7 or 8 years old. Okay, because her education has drastically suffered during all of these changes in her life. Although she isn't stupid, she certainly has the ability to learn it, and she's picking it up really fast, but it's a process, and right now she's still having to have people read letters and things to her. And they helped her write a letter back, which was really exciting. It was very short, very sweet, that, you know, she was glad to hear from them and that she would like to have more contact. And she actually made some little bracelets in her group home made out of beads. And she sent this in the letter. So we forwarded the bracelets and the letter to her aunt. And it was exciting. So then I got a phone call from the stepsister who lives with Grandma. And that was very exciting. And she wanted to be involved in Annie's life. So again, it was letters back and forth. It was excitement. She introduced me to the stepbrother. Unfortunately, in the interim, she committed a crime. She committed assault and battery, which was her 3rd offense. So she came back to Kern County from the group home that she was in. But because it took the court so long to get it all resolved with the assault and battery, the family had an opportunity to come to Kern County, where she was, and to meet her, to spend time with her, to talk about the future, to give her hope that there's going to be something at the end of this tunnel, and to make her know that she has family who still loves her. And that was so important and so exciting. And she began to do better, actually. She began to do better in her situation where she was in. I believe she was in juvenile hall at the time. And she began to do better, and she began to really look forward to the visits from her brother. But the brother And I spoke after all of this took place, even after they made her a ward of the court, which was the unfortunate part, but by this time she has the connection. They're going to keep track of her. They're going to make sure they stay in her life. She's getting to know them, and they're going to give her some place to go when she turns 18 and ages out of this system, the foster care system. She's going to have a home, and she's going to have family, and that's the most important thing. And I want to thank you for all your funding for me to have the experience to be able to do this for this little girl and make a difference in her life. And without it, it wouldn't have happened.